Michelle Herline. I am a co-founder and current legacy chair of Impact 100 Nashville, and I was the president of Impact 100 Nashville from 2018 to 2022. This is second in a series of videos that we're doing about the early days of Impact 100 Nashville. We're going to talk about our transition in 2019 to become a chapter of Impact 100 Global Council. Joining me today is Susan Gronwald, who is the marketing director and member of the board during the transition, and Kat Howard, who was a board member and our treasurer at the time of the transition. We knew about Impact Austin because of Jolene Skinner, our founder and first president. We didn't realize that there was a global organization that provided global support to all of the chapters. The global organization actually found us. They hosted a convention in Florida, and we thought it was a good opportunity for us to learn more about them. So Susan, in 2019, you were a member of the board and the marketing director, and you were asked by the board to attend the national convention of Impact 100 Global Council held in Florida. Can you share the opportunity presented at the national convention?
So I was asked to go, I think because I was retired, maybe one of the only ones that wasn't working at the time, and I had the time. And I was new to the board, and actually new to Impact 100. So I was kind of excited to go and find out what this organization was about. I didn't realize there was a national organization, and our group had, I think, communicated with the founder of Impact 100, Wendy Steele, on a couple questions, but more as an advisor about how to get a nonprofit started than understanding that there was a whole national organization behind what we were doing. So I was blown away when I got there to find all these other chapters that had been in business for longer than we had, and all the ideas that were shared. But little did we know at the time that not only was I going to gain information about how to do things like software that was available, how to have membership meetings, some ideas of how to run events and things like that. But at this particular convention, the national organization shared with all of the participants the opportunity to collaborate on a national scale to develop a consistent website across our chapters and a marketing plan to advertise nationally about the impact that we were having on a grand scale instead of just in our local areas. So that was, we didn't even know that was going to happen when I went, and it was a particularly good time, which I'll share.
I remember you going and coming back, and you were very excited and prepared a presentation of ideas and what you'd learned to the board. Can you talk more about what you learned and what you shared, what you thought the changes and opportunities we had at the time?
As marketing manager, I was tasked with updating the website. So I had just started to look, and in fact, I had signed a contract with a company to host our website, and I was in the process of looking at companies that could help us with graphics to just refresh all of our marketing materials. So I was pretty excited when the national group made a proposal to all of the participants that they would help support and sponsor a national effort for all of the chapters to have a consistent logo with some changes, to make it unique to each organization, but a consistent website. And they were going to provide marketing resources to do that work. So that would save us a ton of money. And as far as I was concerned, because I'm not a website specialist, it was perfect timing for me to work with the national organization to have a much more sophisticated website than I was able to do locally. And they were also promoting the idea that if we not consolidated, but scheduled our main events, our voting event at around the same time of year, that we could approach the media about the impact that all of the chapters nationally were having on the country, not just in our local areas. So the proposal that I wrote to the board was, I think this is a good time for us to transition to become a chapter, an official chapter, to use the name and the logo and the mission and the organizational structure of the national organization to take advantage of these opportunities.
We were really getting our feet under us at that time. And I know, Susan, when you moved to Nashville and joined, you brought an executive level professionalism to our board, with the official proposal and really showing us how we were at a critical moment. And with all of your experience leading organizations, really helping us to see how we needed to pivot. But there was some controversy on the board about joining the global council because we had greenfielded Impact Nashville and really we modeled it after Impact Austin, but we tweaked it and we made it our own. So some of the board members wanted to stay small and wanted to stay with our roots and where we started, while the others really thought it was time for us to pivot. And I know, Kat, you were on the board and in favor of us growing and pivoting. So can you talk a little bit about what you remember during that time?
Before I dive deep into that, Susan, it makes me think about your point about the marketing and timing. If you recall, we were trying to find volunteers to help us do this work because we didn't have the skills and time, and we didn't have the money. We were still new. We were so grassroots that we were trying to find people to volunteer or donate or sell at a lower rate their marketing services. And it was really challenging. And it was such a blessing that the global organization came in when they did, because we really needed that revamp, that refresh of our branding to go out as a larger organization than we were. First year, 26 members, if I remember correctly. So we were moving from a $26,000 revenue organization to really approaching what at that time, 150,000 maybe. I'd have to check the numbers to keep myself straight. I'm a numbers girl, Michelle. So, but yeah, I think that was one of the things that there was some resistance, I think, to let go of the control that we had as a group, because we were grassroots. We were able to create what we wanted, and Nashville was changing so much. And if you think about like Austin and Nashville, cultures are pretty similar, of like, making your own way, building your own, really kind of that American dream type of personalities, I think, of the two cities. And Nashville was growing so much at that time. There were a lot of nonprofits that were sprouting when we sprouted that needed that, what we called the small and new grants, because they were just coming up. And that was, I think, one of the big things that was hard on the founding board members, of that small and new didn't fit the global structure of $100,000 grants. And that, I think, was a really hard thing for us to really have that healthy tension to talk about, like, where is our city today? Does our city still need that small and new, or has the environment changed? Are there more larger, well-established nonprofits, or could some of those small and news handle a $100,000 grant and use it in a way that would drive the change and impact we were seeking? So I think those conversations, we really leaned in and had a lot of healthy conflict dialogue about what we had been doing, where we were going. But marketing is one example where we saw a very clear benefit. That on the financial side, we saw it too, because when we first started, everybody was paying in checks, going back to cultural changes, right? People were still predominantly paying in check. We had some people that would Venmo, and maybe, we had PayPal. Then we added Venmo, but Venmo stopped really supporting that type of payment structure we were using. We were using Venmo groups, which wasn't maintained as a product. So we were in this place of, how do we shift to allow for more digital payments rather than physical checks? And Impact100 Global brought Stripe as a software that we could go into, in QuickBooks. So there were a lot of things that we adopted and changed and grew to scale to continue to grow to the place we are today.
And I remember the Global Council was very giving of their time, and we could email with questions. They created a portal where other impacts, if they had been through a challenging situation or an opportunity they were trying to take advantage of, there was resources that we could go to, and we could follow up and get information. One of the things I remember we were challenged with is we had overlapping networks. And one of the big things I remember learning was this whole idea of an advisory council. And so keeping the executive board smaller, but making sure that you involved people in the organization. And the advisory council, we kicked that off, I believe, in 2019, and that's really when we started growing. So what are some of the other benefits that you have seen being part of the Global Council?
There has been some national publicity that we've been able to participate in, and the Global Council has done national meetings during COVID. Of course, it was done virtual. They're having another they had a convention this year, and so I think we continue to see that as the organization grows nationally and internationally, that we have benefited from the learnings of other groups. And in turn, what's cool is that we have done the same thing for other new chapters. They've come to us for help and advice on the website that we gained, when we first received it from the national group.
Kat, do you have anything else to add about the benefit of joining the Global Council?
I think I mentioned the financial services that we, or the software that we integrated with the joining the council. The other benefits that we had is the grants process. We were managing everything in Excel. So it was very manual. Like I said, we were pretty grassroots. So we built all of the things we were using ourselves. I had built a CRM in a spreadsheet. Everybody was using spreadsheets for the grants. So with the council, they had brought in a recommendation for submittable, which at that time we were really feeling the pain of managing the grants process with the amount of grant funds we were giving and the amount of applicants we were reviewing, because we've really always done exceptional at getting a lot of applicants. So we had a lot to go through. So when Susan went to the offsite in Florida, she had brought back the recommendation for submittable, which we had already gone through a lot of work to get proposals and pricing and all of that. So, being a part of the council going forward, it saved us a lot of time for scoping these software and services and getting a better price, because there's scale then being a part of the council. There's a bigger buy across the group. So we were able to have some savings and confidence that we were choosing the right software for grants. And then we had already been in the works of transitioning to Google for our email hosting. And again, they validated that that was the right choice. And we were able to then use our new branding, Impact100 Nashville, more recognition and all of that as part of it. And I think across all of them, we probably saved thousands of dollars by using the economies of scale, by being a part of the council. And again, the confidence of that we're making right decisions, because we're a pretty lean team. So to change what we're doing takes a lot of volunteer hours. So anytime we could confidently make the right decision and not have to remake it the next year or coming years, really not only saved the money, but saved the volunteer hours, which are hard to come by. So it was really a great benefit to land where we did. And I don't know, Michelle, I look at the logo in your background and it really just makes me smile. I think that we've come so far as part of joining the council. We have members that get referred from other chapters, all of that. Like, it really is exciting and, in my face right now, looking at your background. So I love it.